female voice, male voice, lolly voice, monster voice.
Awesome! Okay, mag-time check tayo sa gabing ito. Okay, 5 minutos po pasado alas 8 po. Okay, ang programa natin, no? Ayan. So, tapos ang programa ni Dear Uncle Bing, no? Okay, pag ganitong oras, wala na siya. Okay. Ang kalendaryo natin ngayon, araw ng Miyerkules, 14 po ng Enero 2024, no? Okay. So, babati muna tayo, mag-intro muna tayo. Okay, dito tayo sa Consolidated News natin. Okay, mga silingan. Okay, mga kompoblanos, mga bisinos, mga suki, mga kababayan, no? Ayan. Okay, babati ako. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Magandang gabi sa inyo. Okay, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Dito po sa programa Halo-Halo Special. Opinion, balita, tiba pa. And then, sinamahan po ng serbisyo publiko, tinik ng mamamayan. At saka itong ugnayan ng mamamayan, mga suki, no? Okay, gabi ito, 14 po ng Pebrero, no? Okay, so palagay ko maraming magpabaksin ngayon, mga kababayan, no? Okay, naalala ko magbaksin, no? Noong panahon ng pandemya, yung COVID-19. So ngayon, palagay ko ibang baksin, mga suki, no? Okay. Yung mga kapatid natin sa ibang mga paniwala, mga suki, mga kababayan. Maniwala sa Valentine Day, no? Valentino, Valentina, okay, mga suki, no? So, sigurado ako, okay, puno po ang mga bahay aliwan, mga suki, no? Okay, so marami talaga yan magpabaksin sa gabing ito, mga kababayan, no? And then meron naman mga kwan, no? Okay, meron mga vaccine din. So, intertwine, magpabaksin, and then yung mag-vaccine naman, mga suki, mga. Hindi na natin elaborate, naintindihan nyo na kung ano po vaccine sa gabing ito, mga suki, mga kababayan. Kasi araw po ng puso, no? Sigurado ako maraming magpabaksin, no? Okay, halo-halo na. Okay, hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, pati sa mga ibang bansa. Okay, marami yan magpabaksin sa gabing ito, mga kababayan, no? Okay, magpa-inject ba? Okay, in short, magpa-inject, mga suki. Okay, sigurado ako 100%, 101% maraming magpabaksin, no? At saka magbaksin din. Okay, yung kabila ay magbaksin din siya. Ayan po, mga suki, mga kababayan. Ayan ang unang balita natin, no? Tungkol po sa vaccine sa gabing ito. Okay, hanggang magdamag. Okay, ang mga kababayan natin, itong mga Pilipino, mahilig po magbaksin, mga kababayan, no? Mahilig magbaksin at saka magpabaksin. Ayan. Sige. Okay lang. Okay, magandang balita ko sa umaga, sa gabing ito, para sa mga minority, no? Hindi lang sa minority, ang gusto po ay yung ayaw sa riba, mga kababayan, no? Yung ayaw ba sa interest. Okay, maganda ito sa balita sa mga minority. Tayo ay mga Muslim. Okay, Islam ang religion. Okay, maganda po para itong balita, ibabalita ko sa inyo, no? Okay, ngayong araw, ang Cotabato City, okay, sa pamagitan po ng Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, okay, license Islamic bank, Islamic branch of a Center for Agriculture and Rural Development Card Bank Incorporated, mga suki, no? So, matagal na inaantay natin maliban po sa Amana Bank. Okay, alhamdulillah. Thank you very much. Okay, sa pamahalaan po ng Bangsamoro government, no? Okay, salamat. Okay, natupad din itong matagal na natin inaantay. Okay, itong okay, pag-aproba ng Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, itong Islamic Bank, mga kababayan, no? So, unang pinatayo, siyempre po ay sa center po ng BARM government, diyan po sa Cotabato City, no? Okay, sabi rito, is now open, okay, to Bangsamoro. Okay, yung mga Bangsamoro, tayo Bangsamoro, mga suki, no? Okay, minority Bangsamoro. Okay, mga Bangsamoro residents. Okay, constituent, okay, ng Bangsamoro, mga suki, no? Ayan, offering a wide range, okay, of financial product and services aligned with Islamic Sharia o Islamic principle, mga kababayan, na. Okay, dapat ito meron talaga mag-educate patungkol dito, mga suki, no? Okay, para yung mga minority, okay, magbangko po dito sa itong bagong card, no? Okay, Center for Agriculture pala, and Rural Development Bank, in short, CARD, CARD, no? So, pasalamatan natin po ang BARM government, alhamdulillah, ay natupad din, mga suki, no? Okay. So, Bank Incorporated, ulitin ko, is now open to Bangsamoro residents, offering a wide range of financial products and services aligned with Islamic Sharia and principle, mga kababayan, no? So, sigurado, 100% walang interest ito, mga kababayan, no? Wala ito interest. So, walang kaduda-duda. Okay, ang Mind of Global Food Lines ay maghingi ng tulong dito, mga suki, no? Okay, ang Mind of Global Corporation ay dapat makahingi dito po ng tulong. Okay? Sa bangko ito, mga suki, no? Sa bangko ito. Okay. Inuubo ko kagad, no? May nagbanggit ata yan. Okay, ang binuo ito kasi naprobahan po ang Republica 11439 or tinatawag po ng the Islamic Banking Law. So matagal na ito, mga suki, no? So inulit natin, okay, sa pagporsigido, sa paglabi po ng ng BARM government sa Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, ay naaprubahan din po ang matagal na minimiti natin. Okay, inihintay natin po na magkaroon tayo ng bangko na walang interest, mga suki, no? Free of interest. So, yung mga yung mga financial product o financial tools and financial services, dapat ma-educate tayo, mga suki, mga kababayan, no? So, sino maka-educate yan? Yung talagang expert, okay, sa Islamic Bank, mga kababayan, sa Islamic Finance, sa Islamic Economy, yan po ang maka-educate sa atin, mga suki, mga kababayan, no? Ayan. So, Okay, tapakul. Meron mga tapakul, insurance. Okay, meron na sukuk. Okay, yung mga ban. Okay, para yung gusto mag-invest. Okay, katulad ko gusto mag-invest sa mga sukuk. Ayan po mga suki, dapat kumalat itong bangko ito sa kahit lang man sa minority, no? Province of Basilan, Province of Tawi-Tawi, Province of Hulu, muna. Okay, Province of Maguindanao del Sur, o Maguindanao del Norte, Cotabato City, Marawi City, Lanao del Sur, pwede rin isama natin po ang Lanao del Norte, mga suki, na? Okay, so yan muna po kasi maraming mga majority po ay nakatira dyan po ay ayaw po sa interest, mga suki, no? Okay, ayaw sa interest. Yung conventional bank kasi, mga commercial bank ay may interest po, mga suki, no? Okay, so inulit ko para sa kalaman po ng mga minority. Okay, na meron na bangko po inopen sa sa Cotabato City, no? Inulit ko, okay, itong bangko ito ay Islamic branch of a Center for Agriculture and Rural Development Card Bank Incorporated, no? So matagal na hiningi natin. Okay, so sa pagkataon nito ay na-open po, mga suki, mga kababayan, no? So ang Mind of Global at saka ADLSNTV News Online Corporation ay dapat po makabil ng tulong po dito sa bangko ito, mga suki, no? Okay, lalo na po yung pagkain. Yung pag-agriculture po, mga suki, ay dapat po ay makabayar tayo ng mga financial products and services po para pagpalago po ng hanap buhay natin po. Matagal na natin inaantay ito, no? Okay, ni minsan hindi ako mangutang po ng may interest, mga suki, mga kababayan. Sa tagal ko na sa maghanap buhay ay hindi ako nangutang po sa meron interest, no? Kasi takot ako, baka mamatay ako nakangisi, nakadilat ang mata ko, dahil kumakain ako ng riba. May interest po, mga suki, mga kababayan. Yun ang katakutan ko. Yun pa naman ayon po sa mga balita, yung mga mag-explain dito, pag kumain ka ng riba, malaki raw ang tiyan mo. Okay, pag doon ka sa Hari Kiamat, mga suki, no? Okay, nauna raw ang tiyan mo na malaki, parang parang mountain. Okay, parang puno. Pag kumakain ka ng riba, mga suki. Yun ang katakutan ko. Ayaw ko doon po humarap sa harapan ng Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, malaki ang tiyan ko, no? Okay, malaki ang tiyan ko. Hindi ko na makita ang daanan ko po, mga kababayan, no? Okay, puro tiyan na. Kasi puno po ng riba. Ayan po, mga suki, mga kababayan. Yun ang kinakatakutan ko, mga suki. Hindi ako try, mangutang po na may interest, mga kababayan, no? Okay, yun ang iniwasan ko na kumain ako ng maraming parang Mount Apo ang tiyan ko. Okay, ng Davao City, dyan sa parte ng Davao, o kaya Mayon Volcano. Okay, yung Taal Volcano, yan po ang ayaw ko ng mga suki, no? Okay, pag mamatay ako, ganoon po ang kalaki ng tiyan ko, no? So, dapat maka-avail tayo rito sa bangko ito, mga suki, no? Okay, marami pa mga mag-interest, katulad ng Maybank, ng galing nga tayo sa ibang bansa. Okay, mayaman din bangko, gusto po mag-avail po ng mag-service. Okay, dito po sa BAM region, no? At saka itong CIMB Bank. Okay, pag pumunta ka sa mga Malaysia, pumunta ka sa Sabah, Malaysia, makita mo, CIMB Islamic Bank. O kaya Maybank Islamic Bank. Ayan po mga suki, no? Pag masyal ka dyan sa mga katulad ng Malaysia, okay, sa Sabah, Malaysia, o kaya sa Kuala Lumpur, ayan po makikita mo, meron na Maybank, Islamic Bank, okay, and then CIMB Bank, yan po mga suki, no? Yan ang makikita mo. Ayan. So, inulit natin, sukran, apuan, alhamdulillah, na-aprobahan po mga suki, no? So, nakita ko sa social media, meron na po building, no? Okay, at saka yung balon, okay, para cutting ribbon nata mga suki, ay talagang totoo, may bangko na po para dito sa card, no? Ulitin ko, Center for Agriculture and Rural Development Bank Incorporated, no? So, inulit natin. So, mula sa programa natin, halo-halo special opinion, balita at iba pa, alhamdulillah, na meron tayong bangko na po, okay, sa naipatayo, okay, dito po sa Kalakhang minority farm region, mga suki, no? So, matagal na ito naantay po. Okay, so yan, magpasalamat tayo kay Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Governor at saka yung mga team niya, sa lahat ng opisyal dyan, kay Eli Remoluna Jr. mga suki, na? Okay, BSP Governor, at saka yung mga nauna pa, kasi sila pa mag-ayos yan. Yung mga naunang opisyal po sa kasi medalya ay nakatulong ata rito. Okay, Benjamin Diokno po ay nakatulong dito. Mga team nila. Ayan po mga suki, no? Okay. Pasalamatan natin. Okay, mahirap yon mga suki, no? Okay, magkaroon tayo ng itong bangko mga suki, no? Okay, balikan natin ibang balita. Sandali lang. Dito po mga kababayan, no? Ayan. Okay, sana ba yung okay, palabas po mga suki, no? Anong governmental manipulation? Okay, ano ito? Saan ito? Sa White House? Okay, mga suki, no? Ayan. Okay, saan na ba yun si si Michelle Obama? Yun ang hinahanap ko, no? Okay, wala na ata. Nawala siya. Okay, manipulation facts. Mga suki. Napakinggan natin ito kung ano ito. Governmental manipulation facts. Okay, sandali lang. Okay. Tayo ito magbigay lang ng balita, no? Okay, hindi naman galing sa atin ang balita, pero pinaparating natin sa mamamayan. Kahit kalahati lang, no? Okay, anong time check natin? 25 na. Okay, pasado po alas 8 mga suki, na? Okay. Pakinggan natin ito. How the government manipulate facts. Okay, sandali lang.
These days we have 24-hour news. The soundbites never stop, and the wars never stop. Iraq, Afghanistan, Palestine. This film is about the war you don't see. Drawing on my own experience as a war correspondent, it will look mainly at television, concentrating on the most popular channels in America and Britain. The film will ask, what is the role of the media in rapacious wars like Iraq and Afghanistan? Why do many journalists beat the drums of war, regardless of the lies of governments? And how are the crimes of war reported and justified when there are crimes? A pioneer of modern propaganda was this man, Edward Bernays. Bernays invented the term public relations. He wrote, "The intelligent manipulation of the masses is an invisible government which is the true ruling power in our country." He was part of a secretive group called the U.S. Committee on Public Information, set up in 1917 to persuade reluctant Americans to join the war in Europe.
Edward Bernays and Walter Lippmann go to Woodrow Wilson and say, look, man, if you're going to enter into this war, we are going to need to...
Okay, trabaho namin po mag-manipulate po mga kababayan ng balita, no? Yun po ang danger, trabaho namin. Okay, dito sa news. Okay, kala nyo ang media? Naku, ay pinaka dangerous po pag manipulate ng news, na. Okay? So, trabaho namin yon. Mag-manipulate ng news. Okay? Makasira po sa mga taong bayan, mga suki, no? Okay. So, pakinggan natin ito. Ay, yan po ang pag ikaw ang magbalita na walang puso, walang pagmamahal sa kapwa, kami na po ang pinaka-dangerous, mga suki, na. Okay, gawa-gawa ng istorya kahit hindi totoo. Okay? Kami na po ang hanay namin po ay pinaka-dangerous po, mga suki, mga kababayan, no? Okay, gawa-gawa ng istorya, okay, para lang palabas na ganun po, mga suki, no? Yung tinatawag na mga war propaganda, no? Political propaganda. Okay, kasama na po yun, mga suki, mga kababayan, no? Ayan. Kami ang pinakadelikado po, mga suki, no? Ang grupo namin. Pero kung may puso ka, maawa ka sa kapwa mo, hindi mo gagawin po, mga suki, no? Hindi natin gagawin. Ako, hindi po, mga suki. Ayaw ko. Okay, dahilan sa akin mamatay ang tao, mga suki, no? Hindi ako papayag noon. Kasi pagdating pagpatay ko ay singilin ng mga buhay ng tao po sa ginagawa ko sa pagbalita, mga suki, no? Kaya pantay lang. Ito ang pinanghawakan ko lagi, mga suki, no? Ito. Yan, matagal na. Okay, isa ako mag-correct ng sistema po sa pagbabalita, no? Isa ako. Okay, isa ako kakampi po ng okay, straight news. Okay, wala po halong pag-manipulate ng balita, mga kababayan, no? Kasi very dangerous po ang itong taga-news, hawak namin po, mga kababayan, no? Maghawak ng newspaper, maghawak ng microphone. Napaka-dangerous namin po kung gumawa kami ng mga istorya na hindi po totoo, mga suki, no? So yan ang iniwasan natin po na hindi natin gagawin po, mga suki, no? Okay, i-correct natin, ipa-straight natin po ang pagbalita, no? Straight news lang. Balance, straight news para sa kapwa, mga kababayan, no? Para sa nakikinig. Yan po ang pinahawakan po ng programa, halo-halo special, opinion, balita at iba pa, at sa serbisyo publiko, tinig ng mamamayan. Yon pong pinanghawakan niya, no? Yung malinis na news, okay, hindi po mag-manipulate, mga kababayan, no? Okay, hanggang mamatay ako, walang news manipulation po galing sa akin, no? Okay, kasi takot ako sa God sa Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Kasi singilin sa akin lahat yon. Okay, makapatay ako dahil sa news ko. Okay, kitil ako ng buhay dahil sa news ko. Singilin ako ng Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pag doon sa parang mahsyar mga kababayan. No? Ayan, so yun ang iniwasan ko. Kaya straight news lang. Ayan.
Sell this war to the American people. And so Wilson institutes and creates the first modern propaganda machinery. It was actually quite brilliant in its conceptualization, so that the best way to persuade people is to grab them by their emotions, by their unconscious and instinctual urges. Let's not bother with pumping out facts. Let's scare the hell out of people. A picture of the Statue of Liberty in tatters, crumbled into the New York harbor with German planes flying around it. A picture of the world being gobbled up by the bloody hands of a gorilla wearing a German helmet. So, it's not about facts anymore. The facts don't matter.
For Edward Bernays, public relations was like a war on people, on bending their will. He persuaded women to smoke at a time when smoking in public was not considered ladylike. He convinced a group of debutantes to parade along.
Okay, documentary to, documentary ng pag-report sa okay, sa mga war.
To his delight, the press called these torches of freedom.
What he was interested in doing was creating an association between a product, in this case cigarettes, and the desire for women's liberation. It worked in the sense that it got lots of news coverage. It worked in the sense that women started smoking publicly, and in fact, smoking became a symbol of the new woman, of the emancipated woman.
Iraq, March the 20th, 2003. The creation of illusions and the selling of war have come a long way since Edward Bernays. The selling of this invasion depended on the news media to promote a series of illusions, like the link between Saddam Hussein and 9/11. This is the Pentagon, which spends almost $1 billion a year just on advertising, recruiting, propaganda, the selling of war.
There are Pentagon contracts with news organizations in terms of how to manipulate the news. There are Pentagon officials involved in press releases that go to the media in which intelligence is used to manipulate public opinion, which is a violation of the charter of any intelligence organization. Then you have retired generals who serve as press spokesmen for all the networks, and it's never revealed which military-industrial firms they work for.
Central to this is the co-opting and spinning of a media regarded as the freest in the world.
Showdown Iraq. If America goes to war, turn to MSNBC and the experts.
If we journalists, including myself, had right from the get-go, from the opening pop, had started asking the kind of tough, digging, aggressive questions we should have been asking, and doing our reporting, rather than just being kind of stenographers, go to a briefing, have an official say something, put it in the paper next day. If we had done our job, I do think a strong argument can be made that perhaps we would not have gone to war.
The attack on Iraq was sold by these two men. The blueprint for the invasion was this military doctrine called shock and awe.
Hello, good evening. This is Gina from Cash. Please note that this call is recorded for quality assurance purposes. Can I speak to a person Mahat?
Okay, madam, I'm busy, no? Okay, I'm busy. Okay, I am on board for newscast. Okay, later. May laman ng bunga ako, no? Or later. Okay, sorry po. I'm sorry. I cannot entertain you. Okay, I cannot entertain you. I'm sorry. I am on board newscast. Prime time newscast. Okay.
Hi.
Okay, I'm sorry I cannot entertain you because I'm still on board in broadcast. Okay, in broadcast. May laman ang bunga ko, no?
Mabilis ang talon po na 1,175 pesos and then iwan sa tabo. Magagawin na po kasi magbabayaran.
Okay. Utang pala ito. O, sige po. Set na lang natin, no? Okay, busy ako sa program. Okay, hindi kita ma-entertain, no? Okay, sige. Bill. Sige po. Okay, ma-disrupt po yung broadcast ko. Sige po. Okay.
Designed to paralyze the country and destroy food production, water supply, and other civilian infrastructure, the effect would be similar to the dropping of the atomic bombs on Japan. This was terrorizing people on a grand scale, and it would be covered up by deception in massive amounts. But this was not how it was reported at the time.
Scores of American reporters have now joined U.S. military units in Kuwait as part of the Pentagon's effort to make any war with Iraq what the Pentagon calls a media-friendly campaign.
A new word, embedding, entered media language in the planning for the invasion. Most of the reports that viewers saw came from within a system in which media organizations agreed to certain conditions laid down by the Ministry of Defense in London and the Pentagon in Washington.
At the time that our forces crossed into Iraq, we had some 700 reporters embedded throughout our military formations. Embedding was important for that conflict for a number of reasons. One being that we knew we were going up against an enemy that was somewhat masterful at misinformation, disinformation.
We have a number of correspondents in bed with our troops across the region.
And very deeply embedded in a personal way with the Marines that he's traveling with.
I love this expression for the Iraq War, the embedded journalists. Well, too many journalists have been in bed with the administration on a variety of issues. I would say 80 to 90% of what you read in the newspaper is officially inspired. If they're covering the intelligence community, for example, and they become critical of the CIA or a major intelligence organization, they're going to lose their sources. If they become critical of the Pentagon, it's going to be very difficult to get into the Pentagon to deal with official military sources. So I think journalists like to be part of the game, part of the inside crowd, and therefore conventional wisdom is the best wisdom.
24-hour news in particular is a system that is the most easy to manipulate. 24-hour news is a giant echo chamber. So that's why, for example, Basra was reported as having fallen 17 times before it actually fell. And yet, within 24-hour news, when you're reporting it for the 7th time in that chain of 17 times when the city has fallen falsely, the fact that it's been wrong the previous 7 times just doesn't matter.
American armor is moving at will across whole swathes of Baghdad.
This is Raghee Omar reporting for the BBC from Baghdad. He described the arrival of the Americans as a liberation.
People have come out welcoming them, holding up V signs. This is an image taking place across the whole of the Iraqi capital today.
But it was not happening across the rest of Iraq. This was another illusion. The toppling of the statue of Saddam Hussein was seized upon by the invading force as a target of opportunity. What was not news was a US Army investigation describing how they exploited what they called a media circus. There are almost as many reporters as Iraqis, says the report. It was an American PSYOPs officer who ordered the statue brought down. The resulting TV pictures gave no sense of the bloody conquest of Iraq that was already well underway.
I didn't really do my job properly. I think I'd hold my hand up and say that one didn't press the most uncomfortable buttons hard enough.
As you described the arrival of the Americans, you didn't tell us the story of how that whole statue was itself manipulated. Why not?
The entire live cameras of the world's press were on the balcony of the Palestine Hotel. And that was really the only events that they saw about Iraqis coming out. So it was a sort of made-for-TV moment. And the most telling moment in that whole day was when an American soldier climbed up a crane and put the American flag over the statue's face. Because in fact that was a true iconic moment of what had happened. That America had taken ownership of Iraq.
In Britain, Blair and Bush's invasion was applauded as a vindication of them and their strategies.
He said that they would be able to take Baghdad without a bloodbath, and that in the end the Iraqis would be celebrating. And on both of those points he has been proved conclusively right, and it would be entirely ungracious, even for his critics, not to acknowledge that tonight he stands as a larger man and a stronger Prime Minister as a result.
It is absolutely, without a doubt, a vindication of the strategy and the vindication for him. Those who say...
Should they, use Moab, the mother of all bombs, and a few daisy cutters, and, let's not just stop at a couple of cruise missiles.
I've fallen almost in love with the F-18 Super Hornet because it's quite a versatile plane.
I got to tell you, my favorite aircraft, the A-10 Warthog. I love the Warthogs.
The war we don't see in Iraq is largely the massive toll on civilians in Iraq, where daily, even now, people are being killed and wounded because of this occupation. Seeing what I see, contrasting that with what has been reported by most of the mainstream, it's like two completely different worlds.
In 2004, American Marines twice assaulted the city of Fallujah, the second time with British forces. A nightmare unfolded. The Americans made the city a free fire zone. The UN reported that 70% of the houses were destroyed, and those standing were riddled with bullets. Thousands of civilians were killed. Little of this was shown on the majority TV networks in Britain and America. That the Americans met courageous resistance was not news at all. Viewers did not get a sense of the sheer scale of the suffering of ordinary people. This remarkable film from inside Fallujah was made by an American, Mark Manning, with Rana al-Ayubi, an Iraqi. It has never been shown on television. In the wars of today, it's often daring, independent filmmakers like these who give the victims a voice. American journalist Dar Jamal also entered Fallujah independently and revealed that the Americans had used white phosphorus and attacked civilians. His eyewitness dispatches and photographs contradicted the version many people saw and read, but were not published in the mainstream media.
I have photos of trenches being dug, and I watched them burying people there and put little makeshift gravestones, writing anything to try to identify the people. And I walked the rows of these stones after the April siege with one of my interpreters while she read old man in tracksuit with a key in his hand, mother and two children. These were the identifying markers, and these are clearly civilians.
What does embedding do to journalists themselves?
An important distinction between embedded journalists and independent journalists is that when you choose to embed, you're giving the military the full power to control where you go, how you get there, what you see, and when you see it, and in a lot of instances, even how you're going to report that.
Hundreds of thousands of people were forced to evacuate the city, refugees in their own land. They were given nowhere to go. Many are still unable to return.
يعني ما يستهلكش يعني الحكومة شلون تقبل يعني يطلعون دول المجاهدين ويقولون هاي إرهاب وجيش وإخوانات ما يقولون عن الحكومة عن هذول الكفرة اللي جوا قدروا بالعراق ما يقولون ليش هالعمل هذا ليش؟ مو الله ما يقبلها.
Evidence that the invaders had terrorized civilians was provided by Al Jazeera and other Arab TV networks, whose fearless, unembedded reporters and camera crews became a threat to military propaganda. They gave voice to people who refused to be portrayed simply as victims.
تفضل يا بوش شوف هذه المآسي ترضى بهيجي انت ترضى بهيجي ظلم انت اكو عندك انسانية اذا عندك انسانية تقدر تشوف طفلة وهي تصيح ماما بابا وين الانسانية وين الضمير.
I happen to be, I think, the only journalist in the world that has seen the bombing of Al Jazeera Arabic's bureaus in both Kabul in 2001 and in Baghdad in 2003. The case of the bombing of the Al Jazeera office in Kabul was, without doubt and categorically, a direct targeting of those journalists to shut them up and possibly kill them.
Al Jazeera had informed Washington.
Every news organization provides Western military commanders with exact coordinates of where their journalists hide. But the point about the bombing of the Al Jazeera Arabic office in Kabul was that they were given a warning to get out. So that was a clear targeting of a journalistic organization and personnel to get them off the air.
Journalists who refuse to go along with the military are often those who report the real news. In August 1945, a public relations spectacle was staged on the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay, in which General Douglas MacArthur ostentatiously took the surrender of the Japanese. The embedded media were told to attend.
Cameramen and reporters of many countries record this historic moment.
An Australian reporter, Wilfred Burchett of the London Daily Express, refused and set out on a perilous journey for the ruins of Hiroshima. The official truth of the atomic bombing was presented in this New York Times report, which claimed that radiation sickness did not exist. The reporter who wrote the story was later revealed to have been secretly on the payroll of the US War Department. Burchett's historic scoop had exposed the lie. There was, he reported, an atomic plague. I interviewed Wilfred Burchett in 1983, shortly before he died.
It was, I think as I described it, it was like a city, not a bomb city, it was like a city in which steamrollers, just flattened everything out. It's just what I was seeing there, and this feeling sort of grew into me. I walked around there, I looked at people, here, this is the last minute, what happened in the last minute of World War II. It would be the fate of cities all over the world in the first hours of World War III.
What happened to you personally in Japan after that was published?
I went back to Tokyo by train and arrived just as there was a press conference being held to deny my story, because the official line was that there was no such thing as atomic radiation. And the denial of that story has gone on for decades. It's always still going on.
The media consensus was that the atomic bombs had brought the war to an end, but official files told another story. A nuclear race had begun, and the Cold War followed. Based on the propaganda of fear, it was a war we never saw, but was always threatening. And we never knew how close America came to using nuclear weapons again. What follows is a secret conversation in 1972 between President Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger, taped in the White House. Thinking big was what the Bush administration did in February 2003. This is U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell of the United Nations promoting the